Hey guys, welcome to Spooky Okie. I'm Catherine.
And I'm Madison, and today we are doing a sister state episode. So, Catherine, what state did we pick this time?
We are doing Kansas this time.
Woo! Go Kansas!
Yay!
Yeah, I don't think I was about to say I've never been to Kansas. I've driven. Oh, I went to cheer camp in Kansas
Oh, nice.
back in the day. That was a fun time.
I
Random
used to
story.
always go to Wichita, Kansas to do service projects. We'd go paint houses during the summer.
Oh, that's so nice of you. We went to cheer camp and like snuck out at night at cheer camp in Kansas. It was not good.
Nice.
Hopefully none of my teachers are watching this. We definitely snuck out at like midnight in some random town in Kansas. Was there anything to do there?
God.
No, not at all, but we sure thought we were so cool sneaking out. So anyway,
You bad kid.
I
That's about
know.
like me
Such a
sneaking
rebel.
into church camp.
Oh, I forgot you snuck into church camp.
Yep. That was my big rebellious moment, was sneaking into church camp.
What a rebel.
I know.
That
My
is such a
parents
you thing to rebel with.
knew. Yeah. My
They
parents
knew you
100%
were.
knew too. Oh yeah, they were just like, okay, if this is her rebellious moment, we're gonna let her have it.
Yeah, that's a pretty innocent rebellious moment, sneaking into church camp.
Yeah.
Mine was sneaking out of cheer camp to go, I'm pretty sure, to the parking lot and then go back into the dorms and then play like truth or dare or something.
Yeah.
Although I did
high
like
school game.
I did get dared to like strip down and like dance around, and then the cheer coach came in and I was like, oh, I should put clothes on. That was my rebellious moment. I didn't get into any trouble though, so it's fine.
Nice.
You know, whatever. Okay, I'll probably cut that story, but oh well. I didn't know if I had ever told you that, so I was like, I have to tell Catherine.
I don't think you have.
That was
I don't
my
think
high
you
school
have.
rebellion right there.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yep. All right, we should get started and stop talking about this. Okay, you're gonna go first today, right?
Yes. I'm gonna go first. I am going to do our true crime story. All right, so today I'm going to be talking about the Bender family of
I'm
Kansas.
so excited for this. I know like the basics about this story, but I can't remember any details at all. I mostly just remember the name, so I cannot wait to hear.
Good. I love this case. So I had first heard about it on And That's Why We Drink podcast, and
Oh, wait,
I
okay,
love
hold
it.
on. Are you using them as a source?
I'm not, because I didn't
Oh,
re-listen to
shoot.
it. I haven't listened to
Okay,
it in like a year.
because for mine, I also heard about it on And That's Why We Drink, and I used them as a source. I like re-listened to the episode. It was their episode 9. It was so early. They sounded so little. Like they're just
Oh,
little podcast babies. So cute.
that's awesome. No, I did not use them as a source because I didn't re-listen to it for any
Okay.
details. So so it's been a long time since I've listened to the podcast. No, I was looking up, like, I've looked up weird cases in Kansas first, and then that one came up and I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do a big case from Kansas. I'll try to find a smaller weird one. And I couldn't really find any small weird ones. Um,
No, you
but I
got to
do
do the
want to
big
say real
case. You have to do the big case because we don't like cover Kansas often, so we got to like hit the big ones. I'm doing one that's
I
like
know, but
pretty well known.
I just thought about doing like a small, like weird one if I could find one. But
Okay.
I had thought about, I was gonna do one that but I couldn't find enough information. So Kansas just recently developed a new cold case team to
Oh,
solve
okay.
cold cases. And they just recently arrested a guy for killing 2 women in the 90s.
Dude.
And so I was going to cover that case, but I couldn't find enough information. Basically, they just knew that they died, and then they ended up matching his DNA, but they don't know the story yet.
Oh, that's wild. Have to like track
Yeah.
that one and see how it unfolds.
Yeah, I bookmarked it, and I'm going to make a Google search
Yeah. Like a Google
thing.
alert or whatever.
Yeah, a Google alert.
Yeah.
But there was a quote from the CBS News. I don't know if they interviewed him, but one of the Kansas City Police Department's detectives had a quote. His name is Oakman. About they have a lot of unsolved cases and they've already identified suspects in 11 homicide cases. So he said, it may not be today, it may not be tomorrow. In fact, it may not be this year, but there's going to be a time. You may be in a drive-through line, you may be at the grocery store, but eventually we're going to get you.
Ooh, intense.
Isn't that good?
Goosebumps. That was a good one.
I was like, what a line.
Yikes. Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah, so they have specifically put 3 police detectives on cold cases. So instead of just police officers as they have time, as their as their caseloads allow, being able to work on cold cases, they have 3 detectives specifically for cold cases.
Okay. Nice. That's great. Especially with all of
Yeah.
the like DNA stuff that's happened in the last few years, being able to use like all the ancestry stuff. Like you can do so much more in these cases that you never would have been able to do before. So it makes sense to have like a
There's so
dedicated
much
team for it.
Exactly. There's a much higher chance of solving things now
Mhm.
with DNA. So yeah, I just thought that was really cool. So it'll be interesting to see how things progress there with cases getting
Yes.
solved. But so I just
So
had to add
cool.
that little tidbit in.
Well, good. Maybe in a few months we can do another Kansas episode and do like the cold cases.
Yeah, I'm hoping so because yeah, I'm hoping I can get some more information on that one because I think it'll be a really interesting case if I can get some more information. So
nice.
All right, the Bender family. So to start us off, I know it's gonna be a good one. All right, I want to list my sources before I forget. Because I don't know if I ever went back on the last one and read my sources.
You didn't. I noticed that when I was editing it. I was like, uh-oh, Catherine didn't say her sources. You want to save this episode so we don't get sued?
Yeah, let's do that. Let me pull up my other notes. Okay, so last week I was talking about the case of Zachary Sliger and Sage Kreneski.
Oh, that one was crazy.
Yeah.
So wild. One of my favorites, actually. Probably one of my favorites that you've done. It was so funny.
It was really good. So I used newsweek.com, newson6.com, the New York Post, True Crime Daily, k4.com, and koco.com.
Perfect. Great. Good job. Now we won't get in
trouble.
All
right. We won't get in trouble. For this episode, for the Bender family, I use Legends of America, AETV, Humanities Kansas, in 2013 dollars, and Senate.gov.
Great. Love it.
All right. Okay, so just a little bit of history. So in 1862, the Homestead Act was passed, which allotted millions of acres of land to anyone who wanted to settle it. So this was an opportunity for people of any class to go west and to get land and develop the westward frontier for the U.S. After the Civil War ended in 1865, many people and families were traveling west in search of a bright new future in new lands. In the southeast part of Kansas, the U.S. government moved the Osage Indians from the Labette County to Indian Territory, which would later become Oklahoma. This newly vacated land was opened up to homesteaders to settle. Okay. This area of Kansas was known to be violent. There were still soldiers that were still in that violent mindset. Everything was a battle, and so they were picking fights. Thieves were on the road attacking settlers, and there were attacks from Native Americans. Don't blame them. It was their land.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's restate that, you know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah. However, it was about to become even more dangerous in that particular part of Kansas. In 1870, several families moved to the southeast part of Kansas near the now town of Cherryvale. I hope I'm saying that right.
Sounds
One
great
specific family, yeah. One specific family was called the Benders. The family was made up of the father John Bender Sr., his wife Almira, or Ma. I'll call her Ma throughout the episode.
Okay.
His son John Jr., and his daughter Kate. They were German immigrants.
Kate's the one that I remember.
Yes, Kate. Mm-hmm. They were German immigrants, and the husband and wife were hard to understand because they had really thick accents. So people mainly spoke to the daughter and the son because they spoke English more clearly. The family settled on a 160-acre plot of land near some mounds, and actually those mounds are still called the Bender Mounds today.
Ooh, spooky.
Spooky. This acreage of land was right along the Mission Independence Trail that went from Independence, Kansas to Fort Scott. So this was a highly used trail that they settled along. They built a one-room cabin that served as a small store and an inn along this trail.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine your home being this one-room cabin to begin with. And then you're also using it as a store and an inn.
How do you have room for that? It's one room already.
Because it's like somebody making a tiny home.
Yeah, and then being like, here, it's also an inn.
Yeah, you can stay in my loft and I'll sleep on the couch. And also the entrance, like the little door is also where I'm going to sell like gunpowder and liquor and tobacco.
Yeah, that's wild. No, because like my story also is like, it was a business downstairs and like a home, family lived upstairs, but I feel like that's normal. It was like a 3-bedroom house.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, pretty like average size.
Yeah, and that wasn't uncommon. Like there's still businesses today that,
right.
like there's apartments above the businesses and things like that, but It is a one-room building. It is a cabin that's one room. Yeah.
Ooh, can you imagine being like, let me go stay at the inn, and it's literally somebody's bedroom that they're also in? Like the worst kind of Airbnb ever.
Yeah, like nightmare Airbnb situation. Yeah.
Oh, awful. How awkward.
I know.
You just want a nice vacation.
And especially back then, you don't have like Yelp to get reviews.
Right? You can't like leave a Yelp review about it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You can leave some trail markers. Don't stay here.
For real. Yeah. Apparently they should have.
So they built this cabin right along the trail, so it was highly used as a store for travelers. They just sold basic things, food, gunpowder, of course, liquor and tobacco, because you got to have that on the road.
Naturally, of course.
And it also served as a safe place to stay along the trail in the dangerous area.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. Ma Bender and her daughter Kate. Ma Bender and her daughter Kate both claimed to be psychics, and they would hold seances and predict the future of the guests that stayed with them.
I forgot about that part.
Uh-huh.
Getting a little paranormal here too. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, I left this out, but apparently they were one of like 5 families that moved to that area that were all spiritualists.
Oh, that's what time was this? What year?
This was 1870.
Okay. Was that a big spiritualist time? I didn't think it was. Sure. I guess maybe it was.
But
the second,
yeah.
Was it the first wave of spiritualism?
There are 5 families. I bet so.
Yeah. I kind of want to Google it.
All right. So Ma Bender said that she could speak with the dead. She also said that she could prepare herbs that would she would be able to cast charms or curses with.
Oh.
Yeah. According to neighbors, her husband and son both feared her, that she controlled her family with an iron fist, that she was hard-handed.
Okay.
John Bender Jr. spoke fluent English, and he had a softer German accent. So he still had an accent, but he was a lot easier to understand than his mom and dad.
Okay.
He was friendly, and he laughed, quote unquote, aimlessly, which I took to mean like he would laugh at random times,
Right.
which made others consider him to be a half-wit, quote unquote,
Oh,
half-wit.
poor guy. Oh, by the way, it
um,
would have been the first wave of spiritualism.
it would have.
Yeah, it started in 1848 with the Fox sisters in New
Oh,
York.
okay.
Yeah. One of them was also named Kate. Interesting.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Anyway, sorry, I was curious. I had to
You're
look
good.
that up.
Kate, the daughter, who was 23, was the friendliest and was very beautiful.
Mhm.
She would laugh and talk with anyone, including strangers. She and her brother attended the Sunday school near Harmony Grove, and the community liked them there. Like her mother, she said that she could communicate with the dead and would also hold seances.
All right.
She became very popular in the communities for her seances. She also claimed that she had supernatural powers that would allow her to cure illnesses and infirmities.
Okay. That's quite a claim.
Yeah, that's quite a claim. Eventually, her notoriety began to change, and people claimed that she was satanic.
Oh, I wonder what caused that.
I don't know. I tried to find more details about that, and I couldn't find any more details about that.
There had to be something. Like if she went from
There
like
had to,
this beloved, like she's healing people, and then they're like, just kidding, she's of the devil.
yeah,
Granted,
yeah.
it didn't take
So
much back then to be like, oh, she's a witch burner, but
she's an outspoken woman. She must be a witch burner.
right, yes, she's a woman speaking her mind, so light up that pyre, come
Yeah.
on.
um. All right. So during this time, it was not uncommon for travelers, especially men, to carry large sums of money while traveling because they're literally moving their lives from one end of the country
Right.
to another. So they're
Yeah.
bringing their funds with them so they can buy land, buy livestock, buy equipment.
Mm-hmm.
In 1871, however, some of these men started to disappear, which it happened anyways, right? Animal
Right.
attacks, right? Sometimes people would get off the trail, get lost, die to elements, disease, of robbery gone wrong, die from Native Americans trying to get their land back.
Yeah, how
Um,
dare they?
how dare they?
How dare they want their own
Um,
land back? Insane.
I know. But it started to become a little bit too frequent in this particular area,
Okay.
the disappearances. So, um, it was happening enough in this particular area that surrounding towns started to blame what was called the Osage Township, where this part of the trail was. And travelers were beginning to avoid using the trail, which was obviously bad for business, bad for the town's revenue.
Yeah.
So the Osage Township decided to call a town meeting to get to the bottom of this. So a bunch of businessmen of the township joined the meeting, including the Bendermen. The total amount of people at the meeting was about 75 people, which I thought was a lot
That's a lot of
considering.
people.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. The meeting discussed the 10 people who were reported missing, especially an important physician from Independence, Dr. William H. York. The meeting decided that they needed to search every homestead in the area to be able to remove suspicion off of the town.
Okay. All right.
So basically, this doctor had come through the area and he hadn't been heard from since this area. And so the town was like, he moved on. It can't be us. But everybody else is like, he didn't come back through our area. It's got to be y'all.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, we're going to search. A few days later, Billy Toll, the Bender's neighbor, noticed that the cabin seemed to be abandoned and that none of the animals had been fed.
Uh-oh. It's not a good sign.
Not good. Not a good sign. Not
Also, it's
looking
a
good.
one-room cabin. You're gonna find them pretty easily. It's not a lot
Yeah,
of
not going to
places to
take long to
look.
search. Yeah. He reported the news to the township and a search party was formed. The search party also included the brother of the missing Dr. York. So this brother had actually come from Fort Scott. He was a colonel there. And so he had come looking for his brother. So he joined the search party. Once they started searching the cabin, they did not find any people. As soon as they entered the cabin, there was an awful smell.
Oh, always with the awful smell. Ugh.
Yeah, it's never a good sign. There was no food, there were no personal belongings, and any supplies were gone.
Okay.
As they searched the cabin, they revealed a trap door on the cabin floor that was nailed shut.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. When they opened it, they discovered where the odor was coming from. It was a 6-foot pit filled with clotted blood.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Is this the one that it was like a pit with like spikes in it or something? Or was that a different story?
No, that's a different story. Yeah.
Okay. Never mind. I just think of the opening scene of Yellow Jackets when I think of that.
I know, that's exactly what I saw. I was like, you're confusing this with Yellow Jackets.
No. There's a story where it was like supposed to be a trap door. No, it was like the bed would like, oh, what story was that? The bed would like lift up and then they would fall into a pit and there were like spikes on there.
I don't know what you're talking
There's
about.
some story. No, there's a true crime story about that. I'm telling you, there is.
Okay.
I don't remember what it is. It was on and that's
I
why
don't
we
know
drink.
that one.
Okay, never mind. But there is one like that. Just not this one, apparently. Got it.
I'm behind on And That's Why We Drink, so I need to get caught up.
Come on, there's only like 350 episodes. 400 episodes with listener episodes.
Hey, I'm up to date with Wine and Crime, okay? But I haven't gotten up to date with And That's Why Yeah, see. Here we go.
Okay. I won't judge then.
All right. All right, so they found the pit filled with clotted blood, which is disgusting.
Yeah.
They did not find any bodies though. So they decided to search under the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
So this next part, I'm just astounded at the things that people can do. Oh, they decided to move the cabin.
That's not a good sign. They moved the whole cabin?
They decided to move the cabin to the side so they could do a thorough search. I'm like, what? Okay. Yeah, that's what they did. They just moved it to the side so they could thoroughly search under it to see if there were any bodies.
That's insane.
Yeah. So they still didn't find anything. So they decided to search the vegetable garden area and orchard.
Did they have pigs? Maybe they fed them to pigs. Pigs will eat anything.
Nothing said anything about pigs. They had some sort of livestock, but I didn't see anything that specified what kind.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
So when they searched the garden and the orchard, they found the first body.
Ooh.
Yeah. The first body was that of Dr. York, who his brother had come looking for him.
Oh, poor brother.
I know. Okay, and this part really creeps me out. I'm not sure why, but this is, out of anything in this story, this is what creeps me out the most.
Ooh,
he was buried head down and his feet were barely buried head down. His feet were barely covered by the soil.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
I'm not sure, and I'm not sure why that's so unsettling, but it is.
It's really unsettling.
Ooh, okay, I'm not a fan. Also, like, that's crazy. They had to dig so deep to be able to bury him like that.
I know. That's a
long way to dig. It's not like they had a backhoe or something. Like, they're like digging with shovels.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, it really creeped me out. So his skull was bludgeoned and his throat was cut from ear to ear.
Brutal.
So the next day they continued. Also,
like, you don't need to do both. You don't need to do both of those things. One or the other.
I don't know if it was like a for good measure sort of thing. I don't know.
Probably. Like hit him in the head and then slit the throat, probably.
Make sure that,
yeah. Ugh, gross.
The next day, they continued digging and recovered 9 other bodies and numerous body parts.
Wait, 9 other bodies and numerous body parts? Were the bodies missing body parts, or those are other people? Because they had 10 missing, right?
They had 10 missing. The way it's made out is that it's other people.
Oh, I wonder how many people actually went missing then.
I don't know.
That's insane.
Yeah. Among the 9 bodies included a woman and a little girl.
No.
Yeah.
I can't handle that. How old was the kid? Do we know?
Yeah, she was about 7 or 8.
No. Okay. I don't like that.
I didn't go into detail about her death.
Okay, thank you. I can't handle that.
We know more details.
That's the girl's age. Yeah, that's the girl's age.
Yeah. I didn't go into that part.
Thank you.
The burial site was called Hell's Half Acre.
Oh. Great name. Yeah. Horrible meaning.
Yeah, I know. I was like, great name, but oh man.
Very fitting, unfortunately.
Very fitting. So this is an instance of true crime enthusiasts have been around for a long time. So and I remember this from the podcast episode, and that's why we're doing a podcast episode, because I was just so thrown. I was like, surely this is exaggerating, but literally every article talked about this. It was so popular, people from around the country came and they literally took pieces of the cabin with them.
Yes. Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah.
And it's not like back then they were like closing down the crime scene. Like people would literally just come and take things and walk through it and like.
Yeah. Oh. The cabin was literally dismantled by people wanting their own souvenir of the place, including the bloody bricks from the pit.
That is so awful.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like, you going to a place where multiple people have been killed and you taking part of the building because you want that?
Listen, I'm a true crime fan. I enjoy a true crime story. I cannot imagine going somewhere where a crime just happened and being like, wow, how cool, a bloody brick from this building. Let me take it with me. That's insane.
Yeah. It's crazy. Also gross.
Disgusting.
I mean, so the other brother of Dr. York, so he has 2 brothers. He has the colonel that went looking for him. His other brother, it was a lawyer, and he was a state senator in Independence.
Okay, they really targeted the wrong guy.
They did. Yeah, they
did not do their research.
They did not.
Who knows how much longer they could have gone on if they had not targeted him. I mean, I guess not thank goodness they did, because it's awful that they did any of it. But like thank goodness it ended then, you know?
Right. So his brother offered up a $1,000 reward for the capture of the Bender family.
Ooh.
Which
1,000 back
is
then?
a lot of money. Yeah.
Ooh,
so
what is that today, Catherine?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you the total, because Governor Thomas Osborne then offered up another reward of $2,000 for the capture of the family.
Wait, another of 2,000?
Yeah. So now we have a total of $3,000 if they captured the family.
Oh, that's so much
money.
So
3,000 back then would be over 70,000 today.
Dang.
Yeah.
Good reward.
Yeah. So what exactly was the family doing?
That's a great question.
Yeah. And also here's another question. I don't know how people know how they actually did it.
Did they ever catch them?
No.
Or sorry, am I spoiling it?
That's okay. I'm going to talk about that later, but no, they didn't. So, and we don't have like any people that went through the entire thing. So how
I'm gonna bet there's no like CCTV footage.
Right. So
Wild.
as I was writing this, I had a lot of questions of how do we actually know these things are true? Because we actually, so I feel like this is part true crime, part urban legend.
Probably. Yeah. Kind of took on a life of its own after the fact.
Yeah. So some of the things I'm going to talk about later were also, I'm going to like kind of say like these are what is said, but
Okay. Yeah.
I don't really know the truth. But so here is what people think happened, what the family did.
Mm-hmm.
So the sweet family with an inn and a store would invite a stranger traveling alone into their place to stay the night. After dinner, Kate would entertain the traveler with fortune telling or a seance. As they're sitting at the table, entranced by Kate's performance, behind a canvas right behind them where they can't see would be either Pa or John Jr. waiting with a hammer.
Oh.
As they're entranced with performance and not paying attention to anything behind them, they would beat the unsuspecting person over the head. Ma and Kate would then get anything of value off of the person before pushing them through the trap door into the pit.
It's insane.
Kate was then the one who would slit the throat of the person. The body would then be buried in the garden at night. So here's the thing. How do we know that Kate specifically is the one?
Yeah, there's a lot of details in there that there's no way they knew. There's no way they were able to figure that out without ever finding them. Unless somebody did survive.
So there were a couple of people that had gone over there and then ran out. So
okay, so maybe they were like, oh, they were behind me, and then
so
were able
there
to
was
kind
actually
of
a priest
figure out who did what.
Yeah, there was actually a priest that was going to spend the night, but then saw Pa with a giant hammer trying to conceal it.
Trying to kill the priest? That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he ran out. The other thing is, and I'm not saying they didn't use a hammer to bludgeon them, right? But also, it is a farm.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe he just had it by his side. I'm not trying to defend the guy, right?
Right.
I'm just trying to get like defend the like factual part of this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do we know it was in that order, but anyways, so there was a priest that ran out. There was also, and I didn't include this in my notes, and I don't remember, there was another person that was there, and I think they just felt uncomfortable. Oh, they tried to sit in a different spot, and they wouldn't allow them to sit at a different spot. Yeah. And so he was like, no, and he ran out.
Yeah. Strange.
Yeah. So again, and it was interesting. I saw another article that said it's highly unlikely, stereotypically, like statistically, it's highly unlikely that Kate slit the throat of the people because females typically don't do that.
Yeah, I mean,
like in terms of like killing.
Right.
And
yeah, that's a pretty aggressive way.
Mm-hmm. But the papers all at the time said that Kate was the one that did that.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's like, could that be because of her like seance stuff and them calling her a witch? Like
if they were already against her, then they wanted to paint her out to be the true villain. Right.
So who knows? But that is how the story goes as to how they did that.
Okay.
So then the family went on the run, but they actually weren't even a family.
I remember this. Okay.
Yeah. So they weren't a true family. Pa was a man named John Flickinger, and he was from Germany, either Germany or Holland. And he either so he didn't get captured. Nobody got captured. Nobody was captured.
It's crazy.
They the rumor is that he either completed suicide or that Ma and Kate caught up with him and killed him for stealing away the money that they got from the travelers.
Oh, okay.
So John Jr. was a man named John, I don't know how to say his last name, Gebhardt.
Okay.
Gebhardt. Gebhardt. I don't know how
Okay.
to say the last name.
I would have said Gebhardt.
Gebhardt. That's what I'm gonna say. And he was actually extremely clever. He was not a half-wit, as he was described.
Okay. Yeah.
That was part of his act, so that the people in town wouldn't think he was very smart.
Okay.
A detective apparently followed him to the Texas and New Mexico border, where he found out that John had died of apoplexy. I don't know how to say the word either.
Oh, isn't it a stroke? It's just a stroke, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But again, who knows if it was the right person?
Right.
Who knows if it was true? It's during a time where it's hard to get actual information.
You're not gonna go to the hospital and get medical records or something.
Right. Ma Bender was Almira Make, and she had married George Griffith when she was a teenager. She had a dozen children by him, including Kate. So Ma and Kate were the only two actually related.
So they were related. Okay.
They were related. She had a dozen children by him before he died from a bad spot on his head. Maybe a hammer?
Oh, plot twist. Okay.
She then remarried several times, allegedly killing those husbands too.
Yikes.
She also allegedly killed several of her other children so they would not testify against her.
Oh, awful. I think I had heard that. I think I remember that part. What a great person.
Yeah. And so this was weird too. I don't know how, again, I don't know how people know this. Like, I don't know how this fact began. I'm really hoping this is just an urban legend really twisted. Kate, although she portrayed that she was John's brother in the town, apparently they were actually married, and anytime that she had a baby by him, she would kill the babies.
Oh, I don't like that.
No, I don't either. I'm just telling myself that that's a urban legend. That's really twisted.
Because I mean, people would know if she was pregnant. Like,
I know that's
Okay, that's probably just an urban legend. That's got to be fake.
That's what I'm telling myself.
That's what I'm going to tell myself too.
Okay. So the family supposedly only made about $4,600. Now,
from 10 victims?
Yeah. So I don't know if that was in that money or today's money. If it's today's money, that's not a lot. If it was then money, it was a lot.
How much was it?
If it was then, it was over 108,000.
Okay. I mean, that's a lot, but not for killing 10 people. Like,
for killing 10 people, yeah.
Yeah. Not that any amount of money would justify that, but it seems like a little low.
It does seem a little low, yeah. And they also stole 2 teams of horses with wagons, a pony, and a saddle. Okay. So I think it was still a small sum of money because a lot of the articles think that, and people at the time speculated that it really wasn't for the money that they did the killings, that it was for the thrill.
Yeah, probably. That's crazy.
Yeah. So how did all this come to an end? Their downfall was that they killed a man and his daughter by the name of Launcher. The doctor, William York, knew them, and when he didn't hear back from them after they had left Independence, he went and searched for them. Okay. He searched all down the trail during the spring of 1873. He went from homestead to homestead asking about them. When his 2 brothers, the colonel and the lawyer / senator, didn't hear from him, they launched a full investigation into his disappearance. The brother, who was the colonel, actually took a group of 50 men with him from the fort, and they stopped every traveler and questioned every homestead about the whereabouts of his brother.
Oh, okay.
So they actually stopped at the Bender Inn and asked about him. And they told him that, yes, he had stopped there, but had moved on.
Yikes. How much time passed between him like questioning them and them disappearing?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Interesting.
They
booked it out of there.
They did. It wasn't that long.
Yeah.
Kate tried even psychically to look for Dr. York to try to help them.
Wow, how nice of her. So helpful, so kind.
So I don't think it was very long. I think they were searching the homesteads because then his brother was at the town meeting, and it was a couple of days after the town meeting that they were discovered gone.
Okay, yeah. Once they were like, we're going to search everything, then they left.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
No one knows for sure what happened to the family members. There are various reports of people finding them and killing them, but nobody ever claimed the reward offered.
Oh.
So there were different reports of, there was a group that caught the family in Louisiana and they lynched them and threw them in the river. And there was a family, they caught the family here and they burned Ma and Kate at the stake because they're witches.
Not without getting that reward money, they didn't.
I know, that's what I'm thinking.
Kidding?
I'm like, nobody in their right mind is going to capture them and then kill them and get rid of the bodies without collecting that reward.
And not get $70,000 in today's money.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to collect that reward.
They're going to collect the reward. So, basically, they disappeared. And nobody knows where.
Crazy.
I mean, obviously,
it was a lot
they're
easier
dead now,
to disappear back then. Yeah.
Yeah. So, obviously, they're gone now, but who knows how they actually went.
Crazy. I can't believe they didn't catch any of them.
I know. They didn't catch any of them. They were
you
gone.
Got 4 options and you can't catch a single one.
Yeah, there was a rumor that Kate took a train down to Texas near Denison, where the train ended, and escaped down to southern Texas.
Okay.
But yeah, nobody knows for sure. I mean, there's just rumors of where the people went.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they weren't showing them on the news,
Yeah.
If you get out of that general area, it's going to be pretty easy to hide.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yep. Even a wanted poster. I mean, those sketches are only so good.
Right. Yeah, the sketches. Yeah, it's not going to do much.
No.
Crazy.
So, I think at one point they did have a family that they brought in for questioning somewhere. But eventually they released them because they didn't have enough evidence that it was them. And my guess is it probably wasn't them. It was probably just somebody being like, hey, I think this is them, and then getting captured.
Like an angry neighbor.
Yeah. So, yep, that is the story of the Bender family.
Oh, that's such a good one. Wild.
Yeah. I still can't get over the buried head first. I don't know why.
It's so weird. Like, why would you do that? That doesn't even logically make sense to bury somebody that way.
No, it would be so much easier unless they were trying to have a smaller plot of disturbed land.
Maybe.
But I don't know, that seems really like it seems a lot harder to dig a hole that deep. But that's why probably his feet were barely covered with soil.
That's what I was about to say. I mean, if his feet were barely covered, they probably dug down 6 feet. That's an average grave.
Yep.
Just a smaller area of it.
Yep.
Crazy.
So,
which would be harder to dig anyway if it's a smaller circumference.
Yeah, it would. So
wild. That was a great one. Oh,
well, thank you.
Love that story. Love and hate that story, obviously.
Yeah, love and hate. It's a weird one. It's a wild one, but
it is wild. It also feels easier to digest because it's so far removed. It was so long ago that it's just like, oh wow, weird, crazy. It's not as like
Yeah.
devastating. Like it shouldn't matter that it was so long ago. It's still people, but it just feels easier to handle.
It's like, oh, we don't do this now.
Right. Yeah, people don't do that. Anyway, my story. Should we move on to mine?
Yes, I want to hear your story.
Okay.
What is your story?
Mine is the Sallie House.
Ooh, I don't know this one.
Okay, well, you do because it was on episode 9 of And That's Why We Drink, and I know you listened to the early ones at least, but
I did.
you
Okay,
may
I
or may
don't
not
remember
remember
it
this
then.
one. Yeah, you probably won't remember this one. It's a pretty well-known one though. So I'm gonna start with my sources so I don't forget. It's usually me forgetting, so I'm a little bit happy that you forgot last week because it finally wasn't me. I feel like I'm constantly having to be like, oh no, I didn't put my sources in. So makes me feel better. All right, so my sources are visitAtchison.com, usghostadventures.com, hauntedus.com, and That's Why We Drink, episode 9.
Nice.
And I'm really excited to be able to use them as a source.
That's awesome.
Mostly because I got to go back and listen to the episodes, so that was fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just dive right in. So this
Yes,
house
do it.
is located in Atchison, Kansas. I hope I'm saying that right. I don't know. I didn't look it up. But it's in Atchison, Kansas. So the Sallie House was built around 1871. Around then, because there are conflicting reports. I've heard it was built in the 60s. I've heard it was built in 71. We're going to go with 71. Okay. So it has 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. It's a 2-story house. And really, it just looks like any other like modest family home in the neighborhood. Like it's just in a normal neighborhood. If you drove by, you would have no idea that anything was out of place. So the house was built for Michael Finney and his family, who lived in the home until 1947. I will say, I'm not so sure his name is Michael because I also saw that his name is Charles. But we will never know. That's a big difference. It's a huge difference. I don't know where they got those two. We're going to go with Michael because that's what M said on And That's Why We Drink. And we're going to just go with whatever M said because they know, you know? So,
M knows, yes.
M knows for sure. So Michael, which is what we will call him, he was a doctor. And so the new house was both his office and the family's home. So downstairs was like the office space and exam rooms, and then upstairs was where the family lived in their bedrooms. So the Sallie House gets its name from, wouldn't you guess, a little girl named Sallie.
All right.
Although technically there's no proof that Sallie ever existed, but we're gonna just go with it because that's the story and the name that have stuck. Okay. So gotcha. You know, so remember how my last haunted place, there was like the most well-known ghost had a million different origin stories and nobody actually knew who she was? Everybody just said different stories. Same thing for Sallie. Okay. So although only 2 main versions for this one. So does she go bowling? She doesn't go bowling, sadly. Oh, although, listen, apparently she could have because apparently they had bowling alleys back then, as we learned in episode 1 of this season. And I still am hung up on the stupid bowling alley. I still
can't believe that.
I know. I don't believe it, actually. I truly don't. Until I go there and see this bowling alley with my own eyes, I will not believe they had a bowling alley back then in the mid-1800s. I don't believe bowling existed. I refuse to believe. I've seen the articles that say it did, and I still refuse to believe because bowling is a modern activity. I can't.
It's modern. I
cannot see these people in the mid-1800s going bowling in their ball gowns. Like, I refuse to believe it. So anyway, Sallie did not go bowling. They were doing
croquet. They were not doing bowling.
They were embroidering. They were not bowling. I refuse to believe it. They were playing hoop and stick. They were not bowling.
Yeah.
So anyway, I have to get off the bowling again. I can't do another episode talking about bowling. So Sallie, who may or may not have existed. First version is that a mother rushed her 6-year-old daughter to Dr. Finney when the girl was complaining of severe abdominal pain. And then the doctor realized that the girl had appendicitis and her appendix was like about to rupture. And so instead of taking her to a hospital or things like that, He tried to perform an appendectomy with no anesthetics, and she died on the table
Oh my
in horrible
gosh.
pain. So not a great story. The next version is
Oh,
basically the same. It's just the identity of the girl is a little different.
okay.
So like in the next version, Sallie was Dr. Finney's child from an affair he was having. And so
Ooh,
that's why he didn't take her to the hospital, is because this was like a big secret and he didn't want anybody to
okay.
know that she existed. Which
Still horrible.
sure, I believe she's 6 years old. Somebody probably would have noticed. I don't
Yeah.
know. Who knows? But in that version also, he tries to perform the surgery and she dies on the table. So
Ugh.
not a great start. However, I will
No.
say there's absolutely zero evidence that either of those stories ever happened. Like,
Okay.
we have nothing to back that up.
Okay.
Which makes sense later on once I describe some more of the things that you're like, oh, I don't think Sallie existed. Because I don't personally think that
Okay.
Sallie existed.
Okay.
But you'll see. You can decide for yourself. So anyway, she also died on the table in that story. So that's where we're at. In
Okay.
both stories, she was 6, I think.
All right.
So the Finney family lived in the house until 1947. And then after they left, and that's really all the history that we have, is that they were there from the time it was built until 1947. And
Okay.
that's all we got for that house. But after they left, there were multiple other families who owned the home, but many of them didn't stay long due to strange activity.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wonder why.
I wonder why. So, again, I will say we don't really have any stories between 1947 and when this one couple moved in the 90s. Other than that one sentence of like, oh, these families didn't stay long, there was activity. We don't have any specific stories or activity. Like, we don't know the families that lived there, at least to
Huh.
the best of my knowledge. The stories
Yeah.
start in the 90s with like one specific couple, which is interesting if it was as active as it apparently is, for there to be no stories for that, 43
Yeah.
years or whatever. But in the 90s, Deborah and Tony Pickman moved in. And so that's where all the reports start, pretty much.
Gotcha.
So at first, the activity in the home was described as playful, with like objects being moved around and taken to a specific room upstairs, which is very
Okay.
nice of the ghost to take them to a specific room. At least you know where
Yeah.
to find them when they go missing.
Right.
I can appreciate that.
Unlike unlike my keys, when I can't find them, they're always in a different spot.
Right? No, as I was taking these notes, I was thinking like, wow, it would be so easy for a ghost to just absolutely debilitate me. All they have to do is take my contacts case when I don't have my contacts in, and I'm done for. They've got me. I'm theirs. I give up.
Yeah.
Full surrender. I can't see 2 feet in front of my face. So that's all they have to do is steal my contacts case. But at least this ghost would put it in one specific room. So at least you know where to
Yeah.
go look for it. It's now believed that the room the objects were taken to was the room where Sallie died.
Ooh,
However,
okay.
um, it says it was a specific room upstairs, and the exam rooms were supposed to be downstairs. So
Hmm.
that doesn't quite add up to me, but who knows? I'm
Huh.
not going to
Okay.
question it because we're a paranormal podcast. We believe in this stuff.
Yeah.
So totally real. Okay, so that's kind of like the first like kind of playful things, like not a big deal, like things disappearing but
Okay.
ending up in one specific place, like being taken to a certain room. But that didn't last too long. Of just the innocent,
Uh-oh.
playful little things. It pretty quickly became malevolent. The
Yikes,
home has
that's
been
not good.
said to be, yeah, not good at all. The home has been said to be the location of almost every type of ghostly activity. So you've got apparitions, disembodied voices, objects moving on their own, shadow people, attacks,
Mm-mm.
like anything you can think of,
Mm-mm.
it's probably happened in that house.
No.
There's
Mm-mm.
a lot. There's a lot. Um, and so the Pickmans reported that after the birth of their son, the activity picked up even more.
That's not good.
Not a fan. So like at one
No.
point, nope, not good. At one point, the couple returned home from a day out to find that all of the nursery stuffed animals were in a circle on the floor.
Don't like that. Do
Not a fan.
not like
What
that.
sort of, I don't know what demonic ritual is happening there, but I would be getting out of there so fast, especially with a kid.
Yeah,
That's what I
no.
don't get is like, you have a kid, like, get out. Listen, I stayed in a haunted house in college for a year. Absolutely wouldn't do that now with kids. Like,
Right.
no way.
No.
Mm-mm. Not happening. So even
I
though
mean,
I'm
again,
like,
housing
it's probably
prices are
not,
rough, but I mean,
but like,
you got to do something else.
the stuffed animals are having a seance on your child's nursery floor. You need to get out.
That's your sign to go.
Yeah, that if you needed a sign, this is it, to get out.
Yeah.
So that same night, Tony, the dad, began to feel intense burning on his back. And then it was later discovered that he had 3 significant scratches running down his spine.
No.
My
Mm-mm.
notes, I literally wrote in my notes in parentheses, 3 is demonic with 3 exclamation points after it. Like, get out of
Yeah.
there. That is not good.
Well, that's a demon.
Not good.
Yeah.
Well, that's a demon. Yeah. So this next part, I'm like, oh no, rookie mistake. This is not good. So after learning the home's history and about the story of Sallie, the Pigmans tried to embrace Sallie as a sort of phantom daughter.
No. No.
I know. I know. Yeah. So
Don't engage.
giving a lot of energy to that, not a good thing.
Yeah.
So even so, the attacks on Tony continued. Crazy. Can you believe it?
I can believe it.
Oh, okay. This part is it's weird. I don't like it. But during their child's birthday party, a doll caught fire for no reason. It just caught fire.
Oh my gosh.
Literally spontaneous combustion of a doll, which is the creepiest thing. So
imagine if you're like little Johnny, you know, the bad kid, and you accidentally like caught the doll's hair on fire, and then you're just like, you just place over with like a bunch of random toys. You're like, oh, just randomly caught fire, guys. It must be.
Oh my goodness. I mean, truly, like, who knows? It could have been anything, but if that's true, that's spooky, and I don't like it.
I don't like it at all.
No, not a fan. So things kind of ramped up after that. Sallie's apparition began appearing. So not just things happening, they started seeing this child's apparition. And she began accosting the family. So Tony reported being scratched and pulled out of bed by Sallie one night.
Holy crap, that's a lot of energy.
A lot of energy for a 6-year-old ghost child. Like,
no, that's not 6-year-old ghost child.
No, definitely not. And then after that incident, he also reported mysterious burns appearing on his body. So sticking with that fire theme, apparently. I know, like, why are you still there? Go away. And then some other aggressive paranormal reports from that time include Sallie biting people and pinning them up against walls.
Just nonchalant. Just some of the things that happened. We got pinned against the wall by a little girl ghost. That's not a little girl.
No,
that is not a little girl.
Awful. It's so spooky. Also, can you imagine like going somewhere the next day with like a bite mark on your arm and somebody being like, who bit you? You know, like thinking like, oh, your 2-year-old is going through a biting phase, and then being like, oh, sorry, that's just our ghost.
That's just our little girl ghost.
Yeah, that's Sallie. It was just Sallie. Was that your kid? No, it's our demon.
You have a teenager in the house with a hickey. It wasn't a hickey. It was the little girl ghost.
It was Sallie. Oh my goodness. Okay, so objects in the home are reportedly moved by unseen forces. Like there's like quite a few bullets of just like random things that happen. Sounds of knocks and disembodied voices are reported. Visitors and past tenants have claimed to be scratched and burned by ghosts in the home, because they have visitors now. And then
let's bring more people into this.
Right. Yeah. Give it more energy. So electrical malfunctions and drained batteries are said to be common in the home. Sallie's apparition has been seen. I know, like, obviously, pretty much anything you can imagine that like typically happens is said to happen here. So mysterious fires are said to be started by ghosts, as we know. Footsteps have been heard running up and down the stairs. Investigators have reported being touched and grabbed by unseen entities. All just the standard stuff, really. The activity has been so severe at times that some people believe the hauntings in the Sallie House could be demonic in nature. Like,
no, really?
Obviously, I could have told you
You
that
think?
way earlier. Yeah, it's very clear. So others believe that the Sallie House is home to a portal of sorts that allows entities from the spirit world to enter our physical realm.
Ooh,
Because
that's not nice.
not a fan, but it was discovered in the early 2000s that a pentagram was drawn on the basement floor of the home, and there were some like satanic ritualistic remnants from like the rituals that were discovered there, and a luminol test was performed and highlighted signs of blood splatter in the closet of the master bedroom.
Oh, God.
So not great. Not a great thing. So Debbie Pickman now believes that Sallie was not the spirit of a little girl, but a malevolent entity posing as a child in order to gain the trust of the family.
I would
yeah,
agree.
girl. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. So today you can visit the Sallie House for daytime visits and overnight stays, which honestly, I kind of want to go do that. Do you want to take a trip to Kansas?
Yeah, we need to take a trip to Kansas.
Great, let's do it. I'm in.
Maybe we should take my shaman friend.
We should take your shaman friend. That would be so fun.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's do it.
Okay.
Who supports us on Patreon?
I know. We need more Patreon supporters.
Especially if you're a shaman.
Yeah.
So wild. We told the story of her like having that dream about our first investigation, even though she'd never met me, right? We told that on the podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Did we tell the one about how we had thought about going to New Jersey to ghost hunt?
I don't think so. You should tell that one. Wait, let me finish my last bullet point. Last bullet point. Okay. So you can go there for daytime visits or overnight stays. Let's go. Great. Crazy. Okay. We're back where we were. So it's located at 508 North 2nd Street. And you can book your tour or overnight stay at visitatchison.com.
All right.
Okay. And I also have a fun fact that's not one of my bullet points. It's not part of the story, but it's fun and it's a fact. So it's going to be mentioned. So as I was doing this research, I was like, I found this hour-long documentary on the Visit Atchison website. And it's like an older documentary. And so I started watching it. Honestly, I didn't watch all of it. I'm just going to put that out there. That's why it's not listed as a source. But very first scene, I'm like, that kid that's playing little Sallie looks very familiar. And this is, probably maybe not 20 years old because she's younger than me. Probably like 15 years old, like this documentary. And I'm like, that's my friend Faith from when she was a child. So my friend Faith played Sallie in this documentary about the Sallie House. And I remember now her telling me about it. Like one of our very first conversations when I met her in acting class, we were talking about like the podcast. I think somebody brought up that I had a podcast. And she was like, no way. Have you heard of the Sallie House? I was in a movie about that when I was a kid. That was my first role. Gosh. So I just happened to stumble upon the documentary that she did when she was a child.
Wow.
So
that's
fun
hilarious.
Fact. Shout out
to Faith. That is a fun fact.
It's great.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was a very fun little surprise to be like, hey, I know her. That's my friend.
That's awesome.
Great actress. She's a great actress. She lives in LA now.
Nice.
But
nice.
Okay. You got to tell the dream story.
Okay. So I don't think we said this on the podcast.
I don't think so. If we did, you guys have to hear it again because I'm not going through past episodes to figure out if we did or not. So buckle up. Sorry.
I think it was after we finished season 1. We were thinking about doing some stuff over the summer for the podcast, and we thought about doing a trip to do some ghost hunts out of state. And I was thinking, oh, we should do New Jersey. And I was thinking, how cool would it be to go to the beach in New Jersey and do some ghost hunts and have my friend Rachel with us, the shaman. the shaman in training, and I'm not sure if I forgot if I asked her not if she's officially a shaman or if it's still in
What does
training.
it
I think
take
it's
to
still in
become a
training.
shaman?
I don't know. It's a lot.
Okay.
It's a whole lot of stuff.
Okay.
But I had on my to-do list to ask her about what would be some good spots to hit up, what would be some good beaches to go to. And I hadn't gotten to it yet, and I get a text from her one day, and she was like, are you in Madison going ghost hunting again soon? I was like, no, but actually I was gonna ask you about about ghost hunting over the summer. And she was like, that's weird, because I had a dream that I was with you in Madison at the beach and you guys wanted to go ghost hunting.
So
And I was
wild.
like, are you kidding me? That's
We
insane.
have never been like talking about, oh, we're gonna go on a trip to the beach and go ghost hunting. Like that has never been a conversation that we've had, like other than the two of
No.
us right before that being like, oh, that would be fun, like if we did something out of
Yeah.
state, just like also as a vacation. Which we
Right.
did, but just not New Jersey. We did
We
Pensacola.
ended up not going to New Jersey. Yeah, because the flights were so expensive. So
Yeah, they were so expensive.
it was extremely expensive. So we didn't end up doing that. But yeah, we did Florida instead. But yeah, it was insane. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, and she's never met me. Like she doesn't know me at all. So it's just wild.
Yeah, and I think she even said she had that dream, but also when she was doing her meditation, like it just kept coming up that she needed to talk to me about my plans, and that she needed to talk to me about how to like do cleansing better. And
oh, we really do need to talk to her about that because we don't know what we're doing.
yeah, I think when I talked to her, I think we're doing okay. Like I think we're not like
okay, good,
bad,
because I'm pretty sure I can buy
okay.
holy water on Amazon. So if we need to do that, I'm just saying, I think I can.
Yeah,
I bet I can. Hold on, we're gonna find out.
I think what she was saying is that like the most important thing is like your intentions when
Oh,
you're
great.
setting
We have good
intentions.
intentions. So
Yeah.
holy water. It's very high up on the search list, I must say. Look at that. Yep. Sure can. 8 ounces of holy water for $5.68. That's a good deal.
That's a really good deal. I didn't know what
Look at
price
that.
you're about to say. I was expecting it to be a little bit pricier for holy water.
Holy water is a bargain, man. Who'd have known? Honestly, we should probably get holy water.
Probably wouldn't hurt. Is
Yeah.
that actually holy water though, or do you think somebody's just bottling it and saying it's
Does it matter?
water?
Isn't it about the intentions? Does it actually matter?
Well, that's true. I don't know.
We could call up that one priest that we had to call who turned us
Oh,
down
yeah,
because our podcast
priest.
wasn't big enough. Father Adrian. He said
Father
no. He said we couldn't investigate because our
He was
podcast
like-
didn't have sponsors.
He said, "Who are you sponsored by?" I was like, "We don't have any." He was like,
We're like, no, this will be our first episode. And he's like, no, no.
He's like, "No, try again next year."
Which we need to try again because I really
We
want to
do
go
need
out
to try
there.
again. I do too.
Mostly
we
because
need
it's
to try
convenient
again.
and close to home, and I like to not have to travel for one. Oh man.
Yeah,
We could
do
ask
need to
Father
try
Adrian
again.
to give us some holy water. I don't
Yeah?
think I have any Catholic friends that can get us any.
I don't know if I have any Catholic friends that would want to give us any.
What?
I have some Catholic friends, but I
Would
don't
they
know if
not
they'd be
approve
up
of
for
our
that.
paranormal podcast?
I don't think so.
Yeah, Father Adrian might not be a fan either.
He might not be.
Yeah, it's okay. I think my brother's friends with him because he like was trespassing one day and then became friends with Father Adrian instead of getting kicked out because
Really?
that is just his person. Yeah, that's just his personality. Like he's gonna be up to no
So
good and then immediately make friends. Remember, because I was like, oh, I want to go out to Sacred Heart and do an investigation out there, and Connor said, hold on, I have the priest's number, and just texted it to me.
Oh, that's right.
Remember that? Yeah. He was like, yeah, we're friends. I was sneaking around there one night and then got caught and then became friends with the priest and didn't get in any trouble.
We need Connor with us when we do that.
Yeah, for sure. We can do that.
Okay.
He would think it was so dumb, but that's okay.
It's okay. He doesn't have to like enjoy it. He can just come out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'll buy him dinner or something if he'll come help us out.
Yeah, he'll be good with that. He would do it. He would do it. Okay. Anyway, I don't remember what we were talking about other than I started talking about holy water and Amazon like an idiot.
I was telling the story about my friend after we talked about that you can stay the night at the Sallie House.
Great. That's it. I'm done. That's the story. That is the story of the Sallie House.
Well done. I still don't remember that one.
Really?
That was
okay.
Felt brand new to me. So
okay. Good. Glad I could teach you something.
Yeah,
something very useful.
Man, we need to have a backup hotel though in mind in case we chicken out. Because I mean, we chickened out at the Stone Lion, and
we
spent the night.
We spent the night.
But
I didn't sleep, but we spent the night.
I slept, but with all my clothes on and all the lights on. I
did sleep with the lights on,
but I slept with jeans on and a sweatshirt on.
Yeah. Crazy. I want to go back there though. I really do.
I do too. I want to go swimming again there.
I think I wouldn't be as scared this time.
I think I was gonna say I don't think so either, but I don't know. I'm a pretty big scaredy cat. So
me too. But surely it would be better this time, right?
I would think we would be better. I'm still not going down to the basement unless we have a third person that's willing to stay up there and let us back in. Yes, we have to have
somebody. Yeah, we'll have to bring somebody else with us to like guard the door and make sure we don't get locked in.
Yeah. Because I'm not going down there and getting locked in and being down there all night.
No, can you imagine? I mean, we could just call Becky.
Yeah.
But it would be okay.
But she probably wouldn't appreciate that.
She would not. Yeah. No, probably not. Well, it probably happens. Like, you know.
Yeah, might. But I'm sure
it gives her another story. It gives her another story to tell at breakfast.
That's true. That's true.
More material.
Around the embalming table with the coffee.
Ugh, the coffee on the embalming table is so cool. I love it.
Honestly, I know we talk about the Stone Lion all the time, but it was honestly a really cool place. You definitely should check it out.
It was my favorite. It was so fun. Yeah, it was so cool. Plus, we got the little EVP of little Irene.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Who I hope is an actual child and not a demon.
Well, but she was more childlike. I mean, there was no creepiness like your story.
Yeah, mine was very creepy.
Definitely did not get scratched or pushed up against a wall by little Irene.
So spooky. Oh man. Okay, should we close this thing out?
Yeah, we should.
Now we're just rambling. I'll cut it.
Oh, okay.
I always do. There's always something to cut out.
Maybe one of these days we'll get together.
No, never. We will not.
Never. Hey, by the way, real quick, did you notice that we're matching?
We are matching. That's so cool. Should I address the fact that I'm in a completely different place right now? Or just
yeah, I mean, I did the last time I was in a different place.
That's true. Yeah, okay, I'm recording at my boyfriend's house. He has like a really cool setup because he also has a podcast that's much more successful than ours. But he has like the actual cool setup, like 2 monitors and good camera and good mic, all of that stuff. So recording there today. Anyway, that's why I'm in a different place. You can't see my vision board behind me today.
Yeah.
My
laptop live update.
Yeah. Huh? Oh yeah, there's a life update there. Yeah.
Yep. Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Let's close out this episode.
All right. Thanks for joining us, guys. Don't forget to support us on Patreon at what's our Patreon?
I'll put the link in the show notes because I don't know it. But follow us on Instagram at Spooky Okie Podcast. If you have any story suggestions or anything like that, you can email us at spookyokiepodcast@gmail.com. And make sure to sign up for Patreon because that's where you'll get all of the like behind the scenes content and the video investigations and all of that. So don't miss out on that. It's a fun time.
Don't forget to rate and review us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get our awesome podcast at.
Yes. Or if you're watching right now, subscribe on YouTube.
Yes, for sure. All right. Thanks, guys, for listening. This was Spooky Okie. Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.